shooting Traditions Vortek Strikerfire Northwest Gun with Hovey Smith 2013. I'm the author of Extreme Muzzleloading, and here's a new gun for you.
I'm Hovey Smith, the backyard sportsman, and we are about to shoot the new Traditions Strikerfire. Now, this gun is noted in that it does not have an external hammer. It has a sliding button here that you push forward, and that cocks the mechanism. Okay? And this is a 50 caliber muzzleloader, of course. And I had a previous video about mounting the scope and prepping the gun. Now, the load we're going to use is a 100 grain charge of pelletized powder. A new twist is that this gun is the Northwest gun. And in the states of Idaho, Washington, and Oregon, you must have exposed ignition to participate in their state's muzzleloading season. So, what they have done is they have made a cutout in the back of the barrel. And you must use a musket cap to fire it. 209s are not allowed. And I'm also shooting pelletized powders, which sometimes don't work terribly well with percussion caps, either musket caps or number 11s. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and do manually what Pyrodex did with their Pyrodex pellets. In short, I'm going to preload a small charge of black powder, then put the pellets down, and then load the bullet. Now, I shoot everybody's guns and use everybody's accessories. So this particular accessory happens to be made by CVA. Now, at the end here, you have a rounded part that indexes over the barrel. Okay? So you put it over the barrel like yay, and you proceed to rotate. All right. And that drops the two pellets down the bore. In loading this gun for its initial shooting, we're going to use a 10 grain charge of double FG black powder. Okay. This is our priming charge. It goes down the bore first. Woof. Then two 50 caliber 777 pellets. Then a power belt bullet. Okay, that loads easily. We ram it home. And we get a musket cap here. These happen to be flanged, as most of them are. Open the gun. Put it on the nipple. Close. Move all the powder away. Put it in the shooting cradle. Cock it. Push forward. All right. The safety is off. Okay. All right. We're going to do a change-up. That previous load that I shot was with a 348 grain power belt bullet. So that was a load that was about suitable for elk. But I'm not hunting elk, I'm hunting small Georgia deer. So I'm going to change out, going to load our priming charge again, and two 50 grain 45 caliber 777 pellets, and our 240 grain saboted Traditions bullet, which I also use in the Pennsylvania hunt. So we're going to get this down the bore. There we go. And with a ramrod. And this does have, by the way, a palm saver built into it. So okay. Helps you get it all the way down there. Okay, all the way down. And we're now ready to prime. Okay, open. Very good musket caps here. Cock. And shoot. Well, sundown caught us before we could finish up last night. And so now we're resuming. Now with the first shooting of the gun, we did have some minor issues. One thing is I had to put a little lubricant on this slide so it would actually function properly. And the second is that the first batch of musket caps were some old ones. As a matter of fact, I last used them on an Idaho hunt, and they had gotten wetted and were giving unreliable ignition. So that didn't help. So we are resuming our test. Now at the moment, I have it loaded with a 300 grain full bore bullet. This is also one that I tried in the PA Hunter, and I want to get some chronograph data on that one. So we'll get the chronograph started. Okay, good shot. And we did. Well, we made a sight adjustment, and we're going to try again. It shot a little high and left. I'm going to see if we can bring it down about the bullseye now. Okay, 1,408 feet per second. Well, I've gone ahead and changed the target out. And this particular load has a 240 grain saboted bullet, 100 grains of 45 caliber TripleSeven pellets loaded in a 50 caliber barrel, as well as the 10 grain FFG priming powder. Okay. That one shot several inches high again, and I'm starting to worry about the scope. I've adjusted downward twice and nothing really seems to be happening too much. I think I'm going to take it off and go ahead and shoot with iron sights. We are now effectively starting the sighting in process all over again. Now using iron sights instead of the scope. When I removed the scope, there was quite a bit of debris here, as one might expect, because this is right over that open slot in the barrel, and so you get all kinds of black powder fouling coming up around the primer and getting on the scope. So that's one of the particular aspects of this gun. Now, other aspects are that if you do remove your sight base, you need to make sure you replace these 4 screws. The reason being is that this one was actually venting some black powder residue through this hole. Well, sure was. These are tiny dinky screws and they're awful easy to lose. So keep up with them. You may need them. All right. 1,534 feet per second. Well, that one was 12 o'clock high and about 3 inches at 50 yards. So I need to pull it down more nearly to the point of aim. So to do that, loosen this screw on the side of the sight, then slide it down just a little bit. We're wiped and I'm about to load again. Now I use a very sophisticated wiping compound, S-P-I-T, spit, saliva. Yeah, just spit on your patch and run that up and down a couple of times and that'll cut the black powder fouling. Then I follow up with a clean rag and then a lightly lubricated rag that has a little boar butter on it. All right. Well, that load was high and all the way off the paper. Well, now we're loading 85 grains of granular 777. What we have discovered is that the problems with the Traditions gun here is not with the scope, it is not with the bullets, it is not with the powder, and it is not with the loads. It is the fact that this has a very thin, lightweight barrel. And when we had it mounted on that rest, the barrel was bearing differentially, and that was causing the bullets to fly hither, thither, and yon. So now we're going to support it by hand and hold only the stock and fore end, and I think we will get considerably better accuracy out of it. There is another Traditions bullet that I'm going to load, and this is a 250 grain saboted bullet, and this has a spire point for a longer range shooting. Traditions calls this bullet the Smackdown, in case you're curious, and it happens to be shot with a yellow sabot. I'm going to load the traditional load first. That is 85 grains of loose 777 powder. And we have incidentally completely cleaned the gun now, so it should be ready to go. So it should like this. Okay. Slightly. Okay. Yeah. And we are going to use the Fire Pack Pro here. Uniform compression. Okay. Okay, this one went high and left. Well, I fired 3 shots, and the 3 shots are within 2 inches of each other. So that is grouping not particularly well, but at least they're all in the same place. Well, the problem turned out to be exactly as I had diagnosed it. In short, you don't dare put any upward pressure on that barrel with a rest of any sort, or the flight of the bullets will be changed remarkably. Now, as I adjust the scope, the bullets are moving down and down and down and down and getting close to the center of the target. Now that we should at least be in the 6-inch bullseye, I'm going to try the load of black powder and 2 .45 caliber 777 pellets and saboted bullet. All right, that broke right in the middle of the bull, and it hit about the edge of the 10 ring about 1 inch low. Now this is our original load with black powder and 2 .45 caliber 777 pellets and the new Traditions Smackdown bullet. And hopefully this one should make it just about exactly in the center of the bullseye. Alright, that was as close as I can hold. And it is in the bullseye, just a tad to the left of the 10. Here is where we sort of started off with iron sights, and then we put the scope on. And here's our first 3 shots with the scope, and then we started adjusting and walked the bullets down, and finally the last one is right here. So I'm going to make a little adjustment this way, and we're going to see if we can cut the 10 there with the next one. Well, that is not as good as I would like. Well, I made a sight adjustment, and that one broke almost exactly where I called it. About an inch or so is about as close as I can hold with that setup. So I think we're going to call that one pretty good.
Besides extreme muzzleloading, I also have backyard deer hunting, crossbow hunting, and practical bow fishing available as softcover and ebooks. I have an 8-book ebook series out for 2013-14, and the most recent title is Hunting Big and Small Game with Muzzleloading Pistols. The load I used had the 10-grain priming charge of FFG, as well as 2 45 caliber 777 pellets and the Traditions Smackdown 250 grain bullet. Now this bullet has a polymer tip and a yellow plastic bow. For info on my books, blogs, and videos, go to my website at www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye and God bless.